Buenos dias, muchachos. This is Mr. Perez. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I know I did. Hopefully, you guys have been having time to catch up with your work, spend time with the family, la familia. And all right, so today is Monday. Hoy es lunes. So let's begin our lesson for today. Okay, nuestra lección. So let's take a look at the date. Today is the 30th of March, 2020. And our objectives are students will be able to tell the time in Spanish and practice asking at what time something is. So today's lesson, you're going to learn how to tell time in Spanish, okay? Now, our you do now says try to say today's date in Spanish. And it's right here. I wrote it for you in Spanish. I would like you to try to give me the date in Spanish and then we'll go over it, okay? Ready? Pausing point. Okay, so let's go over it. Ready? It looks like it says 3 de marzo, año 2020. All right, one more time. Ready? 3 de marzo, año 2020. Very good. So I wanted to show you really quickly that March is not capitalized because when we talked about the calendar days and the days of the week, remember that in Spanish they're not capitalized. And notice how we started off with the day first and then the month, okay? And then the year. This is the word for year, año, 2020, okay? All right. And let's see the directions. I want you to watch this video first. Hopefully, you're watching the video first. And then I do have two other videos for you to watch. One of them is just for you to watch. This one's called Telling Time. I can show it to you right now. It's Telling Time in Spanish lesson for beginners. So this girl Maria, okay, Maria, she's gonna go over the time. And what I like about this video is that she's gonna talk in Spanish the whole time. All right, so be prepared to hear the whole thing in Spanish. But it's good because once again, you're gonna hear Spanish from someone else from another country. I believe from her accent that she's from South America. I want to say either Colombian or Venezuela or somewhere around that area. I'm not 100% sure, but you can tell from the accent, or I can tell from the accent, that she speaks Spanish from South America. So I'm trying to give you guys different exposure to different language, different types of accents, so that you can hear Spanish from different people. If you remember the one about the numbers, that was a lady from Spain, so you might have heard her accent was a little different. All right, well, I want you to watch the video. I'm going to make one suggestion when you watch these videos. I will let you know which ones. But for example, this one, I want you to hit the closed captions so that you can see what she's saying in English. Okay. I still want you to listen to it in Spanish, but if you hit the closed caption, you can see what she's saying. Okay. I want you to do that if you ever watch a show in Spanish, and if you ever have the option to have closed captions, definitely use them. I'm not 100% sure if my videos have closed caption. If they do, you can use them. I don't know how well it's going to work because I switch back and forth between Spanish and English, but you can try it, okay? For this one, hit that closed caption button, all right? All right, the other video I have for you to watch afterwards, it's actually a song, and it's called Un, dos, tres, ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es means what time is it? All right, remember? What is this? I told you you're going to see this all the time. What's es in English? Pausing point. Okay, if you said is, s is, yes, you're correct. Is, all right? So, 1, 2, 3, uno, dos, tres. ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? All right? And once you watch the video, the song's the song's a little catchy, a little bit. It's unique. It actually shows you a couple different things. And once you're done with those two videos, go ahead and do the practice worksheet if you've been doing them. Okay. Again, notice how they're going to start to get a little longer. And hopefully, you guys saw that on Friday. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. on Friday I posted the answers for the previous worksheets. So if you've been doing them, okay, you can check your answers here. Okay. All right, let's begin the lesson. Let's do this. So here we have the 2 pages we're gonna learn from today. I'm gonna make it single, and let's see, preliminar F, preliminary F, la hora, the time. Okay, telling time. In this lesson, you will learn how to tell time in Spanish. You will also learn to tell at what time certain events take place. Okay, to find out the time, you ask. All right, so let's practice saying this. When you want to find out what time it is, okay, you ask somebody, ¿Qué hora es? So practice with me. Ready? ¿Qué hora es? So you might be walking down the street and you find somebody, you don't know what time it is, you want to find out. So you say, hey, buenos días. ¿Qué hora es? Or if it's in the afternoon, buenas tardes, señor. ¿Qué hora es? Buenas noches, señorita. ¿Qué hora es? All right. ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? Now I'm going to teach you a different one afterwards, and I'm going to explain why I'm going to teach you the other one. Okay? All right. But as of right now, let's just go over. You see a bunch of clocks here. We're going to go over the clocks one by one. They give us, and we're going to start with the hours. Okay? So I want you to notice, try to see if you can notice any patterns as we go through it. Okay? Here we go. Number 1. Es la una. It's 1 o'clock, right? Es la una. Very good. All right. Try to follow along and practice with me. Ready? Son las dos. Son las dos. Now it's 3 o'clock. Son las tres. Son las tres. Let's keep going. Ready? 4 o'clock. Son las cuatro. 5 o'clock. Son las cinco. 6 o'clock. Son las seis. Very good. Son las siete. Son las ocho. Son las nueve. Son las 10. Son las 11. Y son las 12. All right, let's do the last one more time. Son las 12. Okay, so hopefully you were able to practice right after I said it. You can always go back, okay, and rewind the video so you can practice again. So we talked about this question. What time is it? ¿Qué hora es? This first word, ¿qué, means what. Hora means hour. And then this one is used as is it. All right, what time is it? Now, I asked you to see if you noticed any patterns. What patterns do you see when we were naming the time, when we were calling out the time? One thing you may have noticed is that when we said 1 o'clock, we said es la. And then for all the other ones, we said son las. So I'm going to explain why that is. If you remember, es means is, okay? La, we'll get to that in chapter 1, is the word for the in Spanish, okay? Now we'll get into it in chapter 1, but as of right now, all you need to know, or what I wanted you to know or realize, is that when we're talking about a single digit, like 1 o'clock, or just 1, they use es la. And then all the other ones, because they're more than 1, all right, we're talking about double digits now, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right, more than 1, it's going to start with son las, all right, because it's plural. It's more than 1 hour, right? The only one that's going to be es la is 1 o'clock. All the other ones son las, because we're talking about a number that's more than one. You see that? Dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. These are all more than one. So the only time you use es la is when you're talking about 1 o'clock. Now, as of right now, what we've been saying is it's one, it's two, it's three, it's four, it's five, it's six. We never said o'clock yet. O'clock is when you say en punto. All right. So let's practice a couple of them so that we say it's o'clock. Ready? Let's do 2 o'clock. Ready? Son las dos en punto. Okay. Let's practice a couple more. And remember, en punto means o'clock. All right. And the way you spell that, I'm gonna actually add a new Google sheet so you guys can see some of these. All right. So when I mean en punto, this is what I mean. En punto. Okay. And that means o'clock. En punto. All right. So let's go back and practice them. Here we go. Es la una en punto. Son las dos en punto. Now let's try 8 o'clock. Ready? Son las ocho en punto. And that's all you got to do. You just got to add en punto to the end. All right. Here we go. Let's take a look at this little culture note. It says in most Spanish-speaking countries, it is not considered rude to arrive a bit late for an appointment. If you have a 10 o'clock appointment, it would not be unusual to arrive a bit later. So this is true. I don't want you to think that people are always running late. That's not the case. It's just that we're more laid back when it comes to time. Okay. And I can vouch for this because I've seen it. All right. It is a culture thing. And it all really depends on how important something is to your career. Like let me explain it. Let's say you're all grown up, you have a meeting, right? At your office, and your meeting is at a las cinco en punto, right? You're gonna get there at a las cinco. You're not gonna be late. But let's say you have somebody invited you to their house for lunch, and it's lunch a las tres, all right, en punto. You can arrive a little later. In fact, people will expect you to arrive a little later. You know, when they say in English, you arrive fashionably late, it's kind of like that, right? People don't expect you to be there at exactly that time. But if it's something super important, they will get there on time. It comes with the culture. In fact, I can say that Europeans adapt this kind of culture as well. We're not in Europe. I've had the experience to study in Europe and everything, and from what I saw, it's not just Spanish-speaking cultures. In England, they're a little bit more laid back, and then if you go to other countries such as Italy, Spain, um, they're a lot more laid back. All right, so it's really a culture thing. All right, now let's keep going. Let's see. For the next side of the lesson, now we're going to look at things like a quarter and a half, okay? Kind of like when you say, oh, it's 7:15, for example, all right? So there's two that I want you to know, all right? Explain it here. All right, thank you. All right, so the first one is this one. Ready? Oh, okay, thank you. But I'm going to pause you. Here we go. So when you want to say that it's something like this, right? Let's take a look at this example here. Where is it? We're about to do like the numbers as well, like the minutes, okay? But there are two specific ones that I want to show you. It's this one right here, 15 and a half. All right. So in Spanish, what I like to tell my students is that when we do when we say the time in Spanish, we like to do math. Okay? Spanish people like to do math. So when you want to say something like 7:15, what you're really going to say is siete, right? What you're really going to say is 7 and a quarter, okay? And the way you say that is son las siete, it is 7, all right? And if you want to say a quarter, you're going to say like this, y cuarto. Now, two things. Number one, the y by itself means and this word is not cuatro. It's not the number 4, all right? Number 4 is cuatro, T-R-O. But this one is quarter. It's cuarto, all right? C-U-A-R-T-O. Now, you don't need to know the spelling yet, but I wanted to show it to you, and I wanted to explain it. So basically, when you say 7:15, or any number 15, you're going to say that number and a quarter, okay? So let's practice. 7:15, son las 7:15. Now it's 9:15, right? Son las 9:15. All right. The other one I wanted to show you is when you're talking about 30, all right? You could say 10:30 in English, but in Spanish, son las 10. And then we like to say a half, all right? Y media. Media means half, okay? Cuarto means quarter. So it's 10 and a half. What you're really saying is it's 10 and a half. That's what you're really saying in Spanish. But but everybody knows you mean 10:30, all right? Son las 10:30. Let's go back and see what they look like, all right? So these are going to be not just the hour, but also the minute. So they're all going to be 7 for the hour, and then the minutes are different. So son las 7:05. 7:05, all right? Son las 7:05. Now, 7:15. Son las 7:15. Try that one more time because this word is tricky, especially if you have a hard time rolling your R's. So, son las 7:15. Very good. Now here, 40, if you remember back to your numbers, 40 is 40. So, son las 7:40. You can add that Y here. In fact, I do it all the time. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little Y, all right? So you could say, son las 7:40, or if you want to, and I do it all the time, there's nothing wrong with it, son las 7:40. Okay? Let's keep going. Son las 7:10. Son las 7:30. Remember, media means half, all right? You're literally splitting that clock in half. Son las 7:45. Son las 7:45. Both ways work, all right? So again, our two special ones that I wanted to make sure that you guys saw are these right here. When you're talking about 15 and 30, all right? That's when we do the math. Cuarto for 15 and media for 30, okay? All right. Now it says, ¿Qué hora es? Give the following times. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to let you try to give me the times, okay? Okay. If you had a hard time doing this one, okay, you might have had to flip back to the other page to see the numbers again, all right? What I want you to do is try to at least find out the time or say the time, the real time today, okay? So at some point today, I want you to find a clock or just look at your phone and then try to say the time in Spanish, all right? Something you can do is if you've been saying it, like let's say that this is what you see on your cell phone, 4:37, all right? You could be saying it a couple times. If you don't know if you're saying it right, I want you to go on Google and I want you to type this time on Google Translate. And Translate has the speaking option for you. You should be able to hear it, okay? When you write this, you should add in the beginning son las. All right. So if you're trying to use Google Translate, what I want you to do is son las and then type in the time that you have. All right. And then see if Google Translate can say it for you so you can practice with Google Translate. I don't mind Google Translate. I'm telling you guys right now. I don't mind it. It's just that it's kind of like a calculator. It's a tool that it can be used. It makes things easier, but struggling is actually part of learning too. Okay. Not that you're going to struggle too much in this class, especially with remote learning, but just letting you know. Try not to use it too much. Now, number 2 says, La hora por favor. Walk up to a classmate and ask for the time. Your classmate will answer you. So you're going to go through this conversation with someone today. Okay. Find somebody to have this conversation. If you happen to be doing these conversations by yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. All right. I know it sounds silly, but you're practicing. Okay. But if you find somebody to do it with, it's a little bit better. If not, not a big deal. So you want to find out what time something takes place. All right. So let's go through the conversation first. Ready? The boy's saying, ¿A qué hora es? All right. At what time is? And then he's going to say something else. All right. In this case, he says the Spanish class. What time is Spanish class? All right. Let's go through it slowly. ¿A qué hora es? One more time. Ready? ¿A qué hora es? That means at what time is, and then you would say whatever. All right. Like you would say whatever it is you're going to, whatever event you're talking about. Here in this case, they're talking about Spanish class. So the boy says, ¿A qué hora es la clase de español? At what time is Spanish class? And the girl answers, is that a girl? I don't know. Looks like a girl from here, but it's probably a boy. Anyways, they answer, es a la una. Okay? It's at 1. Now, I'm not going to go into details, but you may have noticed that it's a little bit different here, a la una, than what we practiced earlier. It has to do with grammar. Don't worry about it as of right now. Okay? If it's 1 o'clock, it's going to be la. If it's more than 1, all right, notice how it's las with the S at the end. It's plural. Okay? So, for example, ¿A qué hora es lunch? At what time is lunch? All right? Es a la una. It could be 1 o'clock. Es a las dos. Remember, it's with the S at the end. Es a las 5. Es a las 5:30. ¿A qué hora es? I don't know. ¿A qué hora es your favorite show? Es a las 4. Es a las 6:30. All right. So I want you to ask that question to someone today. ¿A qué hora es? And then whatever subject you want. All right. Down here it says, work with a partner. Ask your partner at what time he or she has the following classes. I'm not going to make you do this part, but I do want you to notice something. It says, note that the words in activity 3, this one, are cognates. Cognates look alike in Spanish and English, but be careful. They're pronounced differently. So I've talked about cognates before in the other videos. I want you to look at these 6 words, and I want you to see if you could tell me what they are in English. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but you could probably figure them out just by looking at them. So, ready? Pausing point. Go ahead and figure out what these are in English. Okay, let's see. Matemáticas. That comes from the word mathematics, which is math. Okay? What about this one? Historia. That looks very similar to history, right? That's because it is. This one, educación física. Now, in Spanish, sometimes you have to flip them, all right, or you have to switch it. So let's start with this one. Física, educación. Physical education or gym. All right. This one is ciencias. Ciencias. Science. Español. I wonder which one is that one. And then we have inglés. Inglés. English. All right. So we're at the end of the lesson for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. One last thing before I forget. Let's take a look at this little culture thing. 24-hour clock in Spain and in many areas of Latin America. It is common to use the 24-hour clock for formal activities such as reservations and train and airplane departures. Read the time below and figure out the time in the United States. Okay, so we're not gonna do this, but basically, um, in Europe, all right, it's not just Spanish-speaking countries. In fact, around the world, the majority of countries around the world use military time, all right, or the 24-hour clock. So you would see something like this, and they would ask you, "Oh, what time is it?" Well, it's 6:35. How do I know that? All you have to do is take away 12. You're left with 6:35. I'll give you another example. Let's say it's 22:30. Okay. They told me that what you have to do is take away 12. I like to just take away 2, and then I can figure it out. There's different ways to figure it out. I wanted you just to know that that is true. All right. I'm not going to spend too much time on the time in class. Like, I focus more on saying things like the date in Spanish. But I just wanted you to know. All right. So if you ever get a chance to travel and you go to Europe, they're going to use the 24-hour clocks for travel, for everything. All right. Just so you know. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Keep practicing your conversations. Practiquen. Okay. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. All right. And yeah, hope you guys have a good day. Tomorrow is going to be the last day for these preliminary lessons. All right. So I'm going to continue with the videos for you to watch and for us to go through the lessons. But tomorrow's the last day for these preliminary ones. All right. So just be on the lookout. Tomorrow I'm going to have probably more directions just to get you guys prepared for the chapters that we're going to begin probably by the end of this week. Okay. All right. So I hope you guys have a good day, que tengan buen día, and hasta luego, muchachos. Okay? Adios.